like money, motherfucker? Money be green. Money feel like money. That shit look green to you?
All right, so we're finally doing the betting preview. Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. And this is a preview that we weren't sure we were going to do, but of course, you, the viewer, told us that you wanted us to do this preview. So that's why we do it. We do it for you guys. So if there's other previews that you want us to do, let us know. Also, if you like the content, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you already have, thank you so much for rocking with us. But that helps the channel grow. So we do appreciate you guys. Let's get right into it, Bryan. Straight up on the money line, Oleksandr Usyk is a minus 1,000. Daniel Dubois is a plus 600. These odds from DraftKings, but I actually took a look at the FanDuel odds. And listen, they got Oleksandr Usyk as a minus 1450 and then Daniel Dubois as a plus 770. So these odds way better. Minus 1,000 for Usyk. That's way better than a minus 1450. But you were saying before we started recording that you figured Usyk would be a bigger favorite. So do you kind of lean more towards like those FanDuel odds? Do you feel like that's more correct?
Probably, but I mean, we're splitting hairs, and I'm not sure what reason we'd be doing that for because we kind of know how this is going to go, right? I mean, if I felt like setting Oleksandr Usyk at a minus 3,000 favorite, I feel like I can do that and nobody will question it, which is what Jared Anderson is this weekend, by the way, in his fight on ESPN. So there are a couple other fights, Oscar Collazo as well, but everyone who's on the A side of the noteworthy fights is a big ass favorite this week, like a 4-digit favorite, save for Effie Ajagba, who's actually an underdog. But regarding this fight, Oleksandr Usyk, there's like a lot of like transportation going on around you. It's so funny. Oleksandr Usyk, you didn't hear that? Yeah.
I don't know. I live in the city, man. You live in the city too, but you know what I'm saying.
I do, but I have a little bit of I mean, my window's closed, otherwise you would hear birds chirping and shit. But look, it's fine. Everybody's
I
doing
live
this
by
remote.
like one of the busiest streets.
Really?
So yeah. So I live like it's like busy out here. That's why you're like you hear the train go by. Like you hear that when we're recording, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it is
I
what
don't
it
know.
is.
I don't know if people
I'm a
come.
city girl, man. So it is what it is.
But thank God for good microphones, right?
Yeah.
So right now I have Oleksandr Usyk winning this fight, and I have him winning this fight in dominant fashion. I went back and forth on group round betting, which we often talk about on the show. I tend to like 7-12. You tend to like 5-8, and there have been multiple occasions where we've both been right. I looked at 5-8 on FanDuel, which was plus 155, went down to plus 150 this morning. But I like 7-12 at plus 190, just a little bit better in terms of value. And I think that it's going to be an accumulation of punishment style stoppage. The thing that gives me a hesitation is Daniel Dubois actually probably should have been stopped in his last fight against Kevin Lerena in that first round because he was dropped 3 times in the first round and looked bad and then turned it around and got a stoppage. Perhaps a little bit of a premature one a couple rounds later. And the only loss of his career was an 11th round knockout to Joe Joyce in a fight that he was winning on 2 or all 3 scorecards. I forget, but he was winning that fight by that point. That I remember. And he got knocked out in the 11th round. So I think it's going to be late. I think Usyk is going to stop him. I'm going to go with rounds 7-12 on FanDuel plus 190. That Usyk's going to get the accumulation of punishment TKO. And because of that, I also looked at DraftKings and I placed a bet on Usyk to win by TKO, exact method of victory, at minus 115, because I don't think it's going to be just a knockout. I think it's going to be, a referee stoppage, probably in that, 8, 9, something like that sort of range, because Usyk is not a huge puncher, but he's someone that could hurt heavyweights, and he's proven that.
Yeah, when I take a look at this fight, let's talk a little bit about Daniel Dubois because you kind of mentioned that in that fight against Kevin Lerena, dropped 3 times, but I don't think it was because he was taking punishment. It just looked like his legs weren't there, and so it wasn't like he was like taking a big shot and he was like jarred by the big shot. His legs just weren't there and it didn't make any sense. But at the same time, like he ended up winning that fight. You know what I mean? So as much as like he got dropped 3 times, I think it was the first round. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if it was an injury, but it didn't look like anything else other than an injury. And then you also take a look at the fact that you mentioned that fight with Joyce, and that was a fight where he definitely was winning, but then Joyce like ended up messing up his eye. Remember? And so that's kind of what happened in that fight. And that was a fight where Daniel Dubois was a huge favorite in that fight. Joyce was the underdog in that fight. And that was the only loss that he actually has. But when I go back to that fight, I just think about Daniel Dubois' eye and how he just couldn't take the punishment. Like when he gets hit, it's like he doesn't take a punch really well. Now, I think in this fight, when we take a look at the odds, there's a reason why Oleksandr Usyk is a favorite. Listen, he's just going to outbox you. He's going to move around the ring really well. So what does Daniel Dubois have? He does have power. And I think this whole entire fight, he's going to be looking to land that right hand because that is his best punch. But I think for him to win, he's going to have to box a little bit and like throw a double jab and establish that. And I just don't see him doing that against a guy like Usyk. And at one point I was like, you know, Dubois is younger. I think Usyk's like 36 now. And
he's got a 10-year age, well, not advantage, but he's 10 years older than Danny Dubois, yeah.
And so I keep on thinking about that too. It's like, when is father time going to catch up to a guy like Oleksandr Usyk? Because throughout his career, like we saw what he did. He cleaned out the cruiserweight division, you know, had 2 really good wins against a guy like Anthony Joshua. We thought that we were going to get that fight with him and Tyson Fury. And then Tyson Fury is just fighting Francis Ngannou and just, you know, saying he's retiring 15 times. And like, you know, it doesn't make any sense. I think he's ducking Usyk, but nonetheless, this is a fight that we're getting. I think Daniel Dubois, I don't think we should totally sleep on him because he does have power.
Yeah.
I just don't see him outboxing Usyk, and I don't see him giving Usyk any like major problems. But is Usyk going to be able to finish him? I think Usyk is just going to break him down round by round. And by the end of it, I think he's going to get the stoppage. I think it might be a situation where he just ends up taking a beating. Usyk starts landing the jab on him too well, starts beating him up, and Daniel Dubois kind of falls into that trap where he gets really tired and kind of has to like, the ref's like, we're going to stop this because you're taking too much of a beating. I think it's going to happen in the later rounds. I actually like Oleksandr Usyk to win in round 7 through 9, which is a plus 280. 7 through 12 I like, but I don't see it going to the latter end. Like I don't see it being like the championship rounds, just because I think Usyk is going to do work on him. But Dubois is younger. He's athletic. He does have power. Do not sleep on him. But you're fighting arguably the best heavyweight in the world. And just from what I've seen from Dubois, I'm not like overly impressed, but there are some people that are actually probably going to take him as an underdog. Just thinking that because he is the younger guy and the age thing, I'm not really taking the age thing into consideration here, but that's how I'm rolling with Oleksandr Usyk for the win. And of course, Bryan and I giving you some value because minus 1,000, you'd have to bet a lot of money if you wanted to win on the money line. Any final thoughts before we get up and out of here?
Yeah, it'll be fun to see Oleksandr Usyk again because we haven't seen him since he beat Anthony Joshua the second time. He's a big ass Vasily Lomachenko, basically. And I think that he is somebody who is going to have a showcase fight, and then hopefully we'll see him fight Tyson Fury early next year after Tyson Fury gets done with having fun with Francis Ngannou. And I think that, you know, Danny Dubois, while he's very young, and I think, you know, there's some talent there, and obviously there's a lot of power there. I just don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with all the things that Oleksandr Usyk does. That makes him arguably the best heavyweight in the world.
All right. Well, if you like the content, remember, hit that like and subscribe button because that's what's going to help this channel grow. And thank you so much for rocking with us. If there's another preview, maybe next week, boxing's going to be a little bit slow for a little while, that you want us to do, definitely drop some comments below. Also, let us know how you're betting this fight and if you have any faith in a guy like Daniel Dubois to get the upset. Because, you know, in boxing, we don't really know anything in boxing. Anything can happen. You know what I mean? So thank you so much for rocking with us. We appreciate you, and let us know how you're going to be betting this fight.